welcome to November's Hopcast Half Pint. Have you got an advent calendar sorted yet?
No.
Do you still do them?
I've done the beer one. I did the beer one 2 years ago. I think last year we reused the box, and we both bought 12 beers each and refilled it. But that box collapsed after a year in the garage. So it was like, is this my beer or your beer? Because it's fallen into my door opening.
Yeah, so I think it's time to rethink.
Yeah.
Right, I'm James.
I'm Adam.
You're back.
I'm back. You're back, sort of as well.
Yeah. It's our first Hopcast together for a while.
3 episodes.
Three episodes.
I was worried that people thought we might have fallen out.
No, we've just not seen each other. We've got 3 beers, so we're going to crack open the first one straight away. We actually managed last month when Laura was here to get it down to just 2 beers, but we've gone back up to 3. The reason being that I kind of feel like I'd shortchanged things tonight by the beer that I've initially brought along, which is going to be the last one that we have, which we'll get to in a bit, which is going to be rubbish. Was one that I didn't pay for. I didn't buy it. It was a present. So I thought I ran out of lunchtime to my local Tesco here, who've got the new Brewdog Quench Quake.
That's hard to say that.
I have to put pause in between them. Quench Quake, which is a grapefruit and tangerine sour, 4.6%. And my friend John drinks quite a bit of this. He's had quite a few bottles of it. So I thought I'd give it a go. It's a sessionable seismic citric sour. No, citrus sour. Can't say.
You take everything that Brewdog put on their labels with a pinch of salt, really. So.
Can I just say, it's an absolutely beautiful beer label. It's obviously just a standard Brewdog design, but it's kind of like a salmony pink and yellow kind of label. You have a look at that. It's very nice. I think the colours work really well together.
I'm glad you bought this because I've not had it yet, and it saves me buying it.
Well, it does.
It says me taking a risk on it, but I imagine you don't really see many sours from Brewdog, do you?
No, they don't. Not particularly. Kind of like the sort of the base level. They do a lot of quite fancy ones.
They did the Blitz kind of series, which is like the Berliner Weiss sort of style one.
Yeah.
They've changed the fruit in that for a few months.
It smells like pop.
Yeah, it's not very aromatic, but something from it. Ooh. That tastes
definitely got the tangerine. Actually, yeah, grapefruit's there as well.
It's not very sour though. It's more like I would say it's more like a lager and lime kind of taste. If you're using quite a or something. If you put like a lime cordial top into it, it's got very it's quite tart, but it's not very sour. Tart and sour, they're different enough terms.
It's quite it's kind of a base sour, isn't it? It's quite straightforward. It's not trying to be clever. It's not doing anything particularly fancy. I like it though.
Yeah, it's nice.
I think it's very drinkable.
Again, I think it's one of the beers which in summer, if that were on the 3 for £5 deal.
Which it is, yeah. I mean, I got it from the Tesco Metro or Tesco Express, I'm not sure which one it is, where it's 3 for £5.25. You've got to pay an extra 25p.
Oh, has it gone up?
Yeah.
Brexit, I reckon.
But there's some good. There's for a little kind of Tesco in the middle of the city centre. Obviously, there's that included on the offer. There's a couple of 4 pure beers now. There's obviously Jaipur, although in bottles rather than in cans for the offer. But there's a few included in it. Some decent stuff actually.
You can get to like a big Tesco though. The range now is incredible.
Really. Oh yeah, well they all are, aren't they? Morrison's have up their game as well. There's still a couple that are. I mean, I walk past Waitrose twice a day, so that tends to be where I go to just kind of buy bits and bobs. There's a bit behind.
Waitrose is one of the places where I go when I want something different because they tend to have fingers in different pies to everybody else. They seem to get something a little bit slightly different. And everyone says Waitrose is expensive, but I've always found their beer kind of range quite good. And they were the first supermarket, remember, to get the original bottles of all the Thornbridge stuff in when they were in the big bottles, and you could get that. And that's when you were looking at just over £2 for a 500ml bottle of Thornbridge, and you're laughing, really.
Them were the days, eh?
Them were the days.
Them were the days. Right, we've got some news to talk about. We've got a lot of news to talk about. So, first of all, let's talk about Jabberwocky, which is a brilliant word. It's obviously Jabberwocky, but with an extra E thrown in to make it Jabberwocky. I don't know a lot about it. It's a new place that's opening in Sheffield. You know more about it than I. You've been.
Yeah, I went last week. It's run by I don't know his name, but it's a guy who used to be managing the Bath Hotel, and one of the girls who does the momos, who does on Saturday afternoon at the Hallamshire House. It's kind of some sort of food thing with kind of chilled out music and sort of candles and shit. But yeah, it was really good. It's basically, it used to be an old Polish pub run by a Polish guy. And I think he also owns the one that's on Ecclesall Road.
Right.
But I think part of it, the guy who sold it to them or sold the business, really didn't want to give it to anybody, and he was quite keen on making sure that his Polish friends in the area would still have something to drink. So they still have quite a lot of, they still have like Tyskie on, and they still have sort of Pilsner Urquell. I know that's Czech, but they still kind of have the ties with the supplier for the Polish beers, which apparently like there's very few pubs can get hold of that unless you've got connections. They also do a big range of like the vodkas and stuff. But I think when we went the other night, I think I had four keg beers on. They had an extra stout from Buxton. What else did we drink? I know that they've had your favourite Florida Vice on, or it's on the board to come on. I saw the label up there. So it's pool table. They had starting to do food, so you can get some like pierogi. We know that pierogi, which is like dumplings. If anybody who follows Laura or Mashed on a Meow will know that she basically ate Krakow out of those a few months ago.
Yeah, she eats anything.
But yeah, it's quite rough and ready. It's quite like dive bar-y kind of thing, but it's got a pool table in, 50p a go, so it's worth checking out if you want something a bit different. And it is a bit of a gateway pub from kind of your beer engine to your kind of Healy area. And I think when I was talking about it to them, they were saying it's kind of why we thought about this might be a good venue, because there's nothing really between Cremorne and the Sheaf View, really. Okay. So it's a bit of a nice stop off for anybody who wants to do that. But yeah, go check it out.
Sounds good. Pour. Laura and I talked a bit about it on the last half pint, and since then things have moved at a pace. And Pour, which is it London Road? It's
London Road. It's next door to the White Lion.
Right. And that is opening, well, as we record this now, it's Tuesday evening. It's opening on Thursday evening, so it might even be open by the time you...
I think Friday's the official opening.
Friday is the official opening. I managed to wangle an invite to the to kind of the pre-launch night on Thursday. So yeah, Friday is the public opening. And this is kind of three main kind of concepts. Obviously, there's the beer side of it. There's vegan and vegetarian pizza, which is appealing for me as a veggie. And bring your dog. They're not necessarily things that you'd all put together, but that's kind of the concept to it.
Yeah. I got a message off John who runs the White Lion. It's him and Ed, who was the brewer at Hopjacker. I think we mentioned it in one of these episodes about Hopjacker closing and them trying to sell his share in the brewery. So it's another partner as well, which unfortunately I can't remember the name. But I spoke to John, and he said beer-wise from Friday you can expect session IPAs to creeks to imperial stouts on tap, also cans and bottles. Cool. So pizza is available by slice. It's vegan unless marked otherwise. So kind of the reverse of what you usually expect. So if you're a veggie and you want real cheese, that's fine. That's fine. So
cool.
Yeah, so that sounds good.
Yeah, does sound good. Thursday is also the first birthday of the Ecclesall Ale Club, and I know they've got like a bit of a charity night going on there, and I can't remember who it's to raise money for, so sorry
Charity's
about that.
Good.
But I actually got a message about it, so this is great prep here. So it is raising money for Western Park Hospital, so that's taking place on Thursday, so a very big happy birthday to them, one of my locals and somewhere I spend a fair amount of time. Also, more Sheffield news, and there is, normally we're kind of digging around for Sheffield stuff and end up talking about stuff from outside the area, whereas at the moment there seems to be loads of stuff happening. So Hop Hideout, which is obviously a beer shop, mainly bottles and cans, but does have some keg lines on as well, on Abbeydale Road, announced in the last couple of days that they are moving into the city centre of Sheffield. So the Abbeydale store will be kind of closing down in the next couple of weeks. They will continue with online stuff, so either mail order for delivery or also they do like a home delivery service. I've never used it, but
They
it does
mention like
exist.
some pop-up stuff
Yeah,
as well. So.
some pop-up stuff which you'd think could kind of be at like events and stuff over Christmas maybe. There's probably
Yeah.
quite a lot of call for that. So that's going to be interesting because Hop Hideout is it's a place that I go to fairly often, but then it's not too far from where I live in Sharrowvale. So particularly because it's open on Sundays, it's a really good option if I'm up and about on Sunday and fancy a nice walk. It's like 20 minutes walk there, 20 minutes walk back. Grab a couple of beers. So it's a really good kind of option for me. At the moment in town, I think it's fair to say that it's kind of really dominated by one main shop in town, and obviously if Sean's listening, hi Sean. So obviously Beer Central is kind of I'm not going to say it's had a monopoly because that's unfair language, but it'll be interesting to see what it's like when there's another similar kind of style beer shop in Sheffield, and how what that will do. It'll certainly mean that if you're after some good beer to take home with you, Sheffield city centre will definitely be the place to be.
It's not. I mean, even though they're quite far apart, they're not particularly both beer shops. Which I know Sean's quite keen on making sure he has a range that they can't be found elsewhere. So it's if anything, it's going to increase what you can get centrally rather than duplicate it, which is a really good thing. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. It's healthy. And it's not oversaturated at all. It's just like I said, it's a monopoly. So another beer shop's not going to hurt too much. So.
No, you're right in terms of the fact that they do tend to complement each other quite well, and I know that Hop Hideout, particularly Jules, kind of tries to source stuff, particularly sours that you maybe don't get elsewhere, because she's really passionate about that, and that's brilliant. So I think it can only be good for Sheffield. Mentioning Jules there, who obviously is the brains behind the Indie Beer Feast, which ran for the first time this year. Tickets now on sale for Indie Beer Feast 2019. I can't tell you the dates because I'm really grumpy about this because I don't think I can go. I think I'm out of the country with work. It's in March. It's early March, isn't it? And it looks like I'm going to be out of the country, so I can't go. So I'm a bit grumpy about it. So I've deliberately tried to keep away from all the social media about it. But tickets are on sale. It was a cracking event this year. If you didn't go, just buy tickets. They're £7.50 plus bookies. It's just insanely cheap for what it is, and a really really good event in a great venue with some brilliant breweries, and it's not too big. So we found that actually chatting to people from the breweries you can do. It's easy to have a conversation with people from the breweries. So just a top event, well worth. So just
before we disappear from that, because obviously you've been to Indie Man now. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's a different scale, but how would you kind of compare them in terms of...
Yeah, you can see that Indie Man was kind of the inspiration for Indie Beer Feast. Similar-ish kind of quirky venue where, you kind of... We went to Beer X, didn't we? Was that Sheffield Ice?
Yeah.
Ice Sheffield. And that was just one big hall. And that was all right, but, this kind of beer events that are in a quirky venue where you've kind of got to walk up some stairs here and then round this corner here and then next thing there's another room here. That's brilliant. That's really really good, and a lot of personality. So you could definitely see that one was the inspiration for the other.
It's also the
difference is Indie Man is huge. And I went on the Friday, which is the quieter of the days for the trade session, and I was hoping to have a chat with some of the breweries and perhaps get some bits of audio for a couple of projects. It just didn't happen because it was just so busy. You just couldn't do it. It was just get your drink, get back to where you were, back to your base. Indie Beer Feast was a totally different, much more relaxed vibe, and you actually could stand and talk to the brewers and stuff. So I think difficult to kind of compare them in terms of the actual scale of them, but both have their their benefits. And
I suppose that they have the brewery bars, don't they, as well. So you've got that rather than being one big just bar full of everyone's beers. You can almost run in your own bars, which is good.
Right, beer number 2. This is you brought this one.
I did. Yeah, it's I think it's pronounced Loka, Polly, which is the brewery, which is It's like a North Wales brewery. It's not far away from Chester, really, so it's just inland. I think it's a place called Mould, which is a lovely name for a place.
Isn't it just?
Based in a little old kind of horse stables, basically. Well, James is doing his can you see through it check.
My test, yeah.
They're basically, I did a quick look on the website because I've seen some of their beers in, I've had some before actually, in Bar Stewards. They've only been going this year. I think they like to kind of make sure they're only using hops and things from the previous harvest and stuff, so it's been keeping quite fresh. And by the look and feel and the kind of style and things, they're kind of going for that kind of Cloudwater verdant market.
Yeah.
So this one is a Citra Eldorado Pale Ale at 5.1%. So they're the main hops in it. I can smell it.
Yeah.
Quite
Very, when you kind of said that sort of, Cloudwater, verdant, Wylam, that sort of market, that smell is very in keeping with that sort of super hoppy, really kind of attack on the senses aroma to it. Beautiful, beautiful smell.
This actually suits me a bit better because I find it's a little bit hoppier, not quite as sweet. So you get that bitterness coming through a little bit more than you would do on it is only 5%, so 5.1%. So
it's interesting that it's just referred to as a pale ale, and yet it's really aggressively hopped. That really aggressively hopped.
Maybe IPA has to be a certain strength these days, unless you're calling it a session.
Maybe so. But you could call that a session IPA at 5.1 nowadays, couldn't you?
It's really nice though.
It's beautiful.
Picked it up from Walkley Baker the weekend. I know we like to talk about Abbeydale, but I had all the new Abbeydale beers out, and I thought I'd love to try one of them. But I think as last few months have passed, we've tasted a lot of Abbeydale boxes. So Loka Polly.
Yeah, I like it. I
very
quite
well
like the
shown.
fact it's a no frills branding, isn't it? It's just dead simple. I've seen
quite
their
bold,
beers in a
isn't
couple
it?
of places and been quite tempted to try them.
I know Al
Nice.
and Al and Charlie down at Bar Stewards, big fans.
Yeah, I can see that. It's very their street, and I think I've definitely seen their stuff in the fridges and been tempted to buy it just because I like the no nonsense branding. Do you remember Eldorado on the telly?
Yeah, I've
That
been
was
to the place
shit,
where it
wasn't
filmed.
it? Is it not a place, Eldorado?
No, well it is. I think it is, but it's filmed in Puerto Banús or something. It's like something like Costa del Sol somewhere. It's quite a affluent, loads of ships and Harley Davidsons and nice cars kind of place. Been a long time, but
Yeah, the TV show didn't reflect that very well.
look it up if you're a bit young.
We've got more news to talk about. More Sheffield news first. So, do you know what? A big congratulations to Shakespeare's. Now, we are big fans, aren't we?
Yep.
We love that place. We've recorded there once. I have no doubt all that we'll be looking to go back there again. And whenever I am even within a 1 mile radius, I have to go there. It's been named, I can't remember what the newspaper was.
I think it was The Guardian.
The Guardian, in their top 10 craft pubs in the UK. Very, very well deserved. The only thing that I feel a little bit bad about is the fact that I kind of treat Shakespeare's and the Rutland on a similar level.
Yeah, very similar pubs,
Those are the two for me, those pubs that are just head and shoulders above everyone else. And that's not being disrespectful to any other pubs in Sheffield at all. It's really, really not. But certainly for my needs, they're the two that are just they're bang on. And it's so hard to pick which one of those you'd say is the better one. But the Guardian have done it for us.
Yeah. Well, it was actually an article it was like a top 50, but it was based on 5 different top 10s.
Yeah.
So they were kind of best location, like view kind of things, best traditional. And I think they might have fallen into the sort of. I think they've fallen into the traditional one. I can't remember. But it's just really good to see like a Sheffield. But I was surprised. I mean, a shout out to one local-ish pub, which was. It's out in Bamford, is it the Anglers Rest? I think that was the closest one out there. But that's like a community-run pub now, and it's got like a post office in it and a little shop there. So good. Yeah, it's nice to see, at least 2 out of the top these 50 within a stone's throw, really.
Yep. What else have we got going on? So we're going to give a mention here. Way back when, and I remember going to see him because I think it was Easter Monday or just after Easter.
All right. Yeah.
Nick, who used to be head brewer of Emmanuel's and Sheffield Brewing Company, he has set up his own podcast. It's not in direct competition with us.
No.
It's doing something quite different. So it's a podcast that's kind of aimed at the brewing community rather than the drinking community, particularly people that are maybe in the early stages of kind of getting going in terms of brewing and maybe making that step from just being an enthusiast to something they're looking to really kind of make progress with and do. Nick obviously is a big friend of ours. I've only listened to one of the 2 episodes that he's put out, which I listened to this morning, but I thought it was really, really good. He's right up there in terms of the actual quality of it. It's really good, some really interesting content as well. So if you're kind of, if you're interested in the brewing side and particularly the kind of, running a brewery, if that's something that you're either already involved with or looking to do, then look up Hop Forward. I'm guessing here from what I remember this morning, is it hopforward.beer is the web address?
I think the website wasn't working last time I tried.
Something like that. Anyway, best thing, Google it.
Yeah.
Hop Forward. And you can find it as well on iTunes and all the normal places. And we'll stick out a link to it as well and give them a bit of a boost.
Definitely don't let it put you off if it's not brewing specifically. It's more kind of the industry stuff. So even if you're thinking about doing like some sort of beery bar or something like that, I mean, there's a big interview with the Heiscraft guys who we featured early on one of the podcasts, which is a big hour-long thing talking about what they've done and developed, a bar and upcoming brewers. So it's really interesting. So yeah, go check it out. Really, really, like I said, really well professionally done as well. So
yeah. Good job, Nick. Well done. Right, Saturday night I went to a new place that had just opened a few days before, Cutlery Works. I must admit I didn't actually stay for any food because it was super, super busy and I was so ridiculously hungry I couldn't get a seat that I decided to go somewhere else, which is no bad reflection on it because it was super busy, which I guess you would hope it's going to be in its opening weekend. But this is, a little bit more about the background to it all.
I've been kind of following it a little bit. So if you've been on Kelham Island, Neep's End way, it's the big building which is on the junction, kind of where just if you're coming towards Wicks, really, on that corner. So you're near the church place, which is the big vegan bar, and just past Gardens Rest. It's an old Cutlery Works, and I think it's owned by the Milestone Group, who have the Milestone, and they've basically renovated it all and then offered I think it's up to 12 to 14 units, so people can have long-term short-term leases of basically an area covering food and drink. So there's essentially kind of like a food market, like a semi-permanent food market. I think it's got 3 bars in it, which is one of the ones I saw was like Booze Hound.
Oh, right, yeah, this is where I have to admit what a plonker I am, because I didn't realise there was more than one floor. I only went on the ground floor, so I apologise for that. It seemed really busy, which maybe other people made the same mistake as I didn't realise there were other floors. It's a bit like, this is only going to make sense if you're from Sheffield, it's a bit like a permanent peddler, but like all indoors.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was a nice little place. It was very kind of up my street, and it is literally like around the corner from church. And obviously on peddler weekends, it's kind of that same crossroads.
It's an interesting location considering where Peddler is, and it's essentially exactly what Peddler is in terms of what they're offering. Yep. I mean, just to kind of throw out a few names, where we used to, we've been to Edo Sushi. They've got like a permanent kind of sit in there, like sort of bar thing in there. Gravy Train, which do like the poutine stuff. Mm-hmm. All sorts of different stuff, some kind of coffee places and some cake stuff and stuff. So yeah, but they're all on this kind of semi-permanent thing. So whether some people are in there for 6 months, and then it might change around. So potentially something you're never going to be able to get bored of. So.
There was a really good pie place.
Pie-eyed, yeah.
Which
I've had pie-eyed. You might have had them if you've been up to Magic Rock. I know they've had them a few times.
Okay.
I've had they sometimes go in one of the units near the what's it called? Is it Union Street, which does pop-up things. Really good pies, yeah. So yeah, but I think Booze Hound is the kind of one that I've looked at in terms of beer. I think they've got 6 kind of keg lines on there and a cask. I know they've had some Thornbridge on there. I saw Citizen that were on keg. I was trying to pinch the Instagram pictures, kind of look inside and see what were on the chalked board. So yeah, hopefully can go check that out myself in the next. I could even go tonight, to be honest. After my
It's it's definitely worth a look. We're on to last beer, and this is quite different for us. This is I've never heard of them before. I don't know anything really about them. So this is Blue Monkey Brewery, who are in Nottingham. This was bought for me as a leaving gift when I left my previous job. I think it probably says a lot about me that the leaving gifts that I got from people were generally beer, and I got a lot of them. So it's kind of taken me about 4 or 5 months to actually get round to this one in my fridge. But I thought I'll bring it along. It's something a bit different. It was local to the guy that bought it for me because he lives in Nottingham. It's called Ape Ale. It's just described as a strong pale ale, 5.4%. And it's a brewery that's been around for about 10 years. It's just American hops, pine, juicy citrus, and kind of pause looking a little bit darker than a lager.
It smells like the kind of. It does smell good. It's the old kind of 500ml traditional style bottles.
It is, yeah.
I've not really had them. used to see them a lot at beer festivals because you can't miss the big blue monkey's face, like PG tip style monkey on it.
Yeah.
I heard a while ago that they've gone bust, but I have seen some stuff more recently. So maybe not gone bust. They packed it in, but I've seen some stuff recently, so which makes me think that maybe not. But yeah, it's actually quite good for that sort of style of beer. That if you are a kind of traditional drinker and like something pale with a nice kind of fruity, sort of hoppy kind of twin, you're not really into your super murky, modern, face melting beers, and that's quite nice. I
think it's perfectly drinkable. Probably the mistake we made here is drinking it after the Loka Poly.
It's stronger though.
Because it's which is what I kind of ordered them in, but it's such a different style of beer. That kind of like really aggressive hopping that you've got in the real modern style of the Loka Poly. You've got a much gentler, although actually I suspect compared to a lot of beers of this sort of style, it's probably not that gentle. It is probably quite hoppy. It actually stands up against the beer that we've just had. It's just such a different style. Nice though, really good.
It's kind of got like the kind of hop kick that you would have got maybe 5 to 7 years ago. Like that kind of when brewers are trying to push these kind of stronger pale beers, but not really probably got access to all these new world hops, or maybe not even even thought about those sort of hops. But like I said, it's American hops, so. Yeah, definitely worth a look actually.
We've got a bit of national news to talk about, and actually both these are fairly old news stories, but we haven't talked about them before, and I thought it'd be fun for us to talk about. One slightly more serious than the other. So, firstly, and we all had a bit of a giggle at this when this came out. Brewdog Airline, what's going on? I don't. I mean, you guys. We obviously have our group Hopcast chat. You guys were talking about it quite a lot of the day, and I was quite busy, so I just kind of dipped in and out. And I was like, "What is this? A joke? I don't understand."
Yeah, I think I was on Twitter saying like, "You all right, guys?" Like the classic UAK Hun kind of meme thing. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. It seems. I know they've got a setup in Ohio. And it's like maybe that is a way to get people from over here to go there, but surely their angle was to get American people drinking their beer, not shipping over English people who can buy it in Tesco. and if you're going to pay to go on this plane, and someone goes, "Oh, I can drink like Punk IPA on a plane," I'm like, I reckon there's plenty of airlines that can give you a Brewdog beer on an airline. Probably.
I think.
But why would you?
Is it EasyJet now, or I think it might be EasyJet and Ryanair now. You can buy Punk IPA.
There you go. So what's the bloody point?
unless it's like considerably cheaper, because it's like I think it's £5.50 a can or something for a kind of Punk IPA on an airline.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't get as much ribbing as they have actually, because they're an easy target.
Maybe most people just assumed it was just being a bit daft. It wasn't serious. I don't know. odd. The other news, and this is really sad actually. This is a real shame. It's the news from a couple of weeks back about Mad Hatter packing in, who obviously are a Liverpool-based brewery, and quite well known for doing stuff that's a bit off the wall. Mad Hatter was always a really good name for them as a brewery, because they did do stuff that was just different to what anyone else had done. Obviously, locally, you could buy it in a lot of different places. Beer Central, Hop Hideout that we mentioned, both stocked quite a lot of Mad Hatter stuff. It sounds like something had happened where they moved to new premises. It's just not worked out right. It's all gone a bit wrong.
Yeah, I think the owner said that I think their head brewer had moved somewhere else, and I think they took if you go on Twitter, you probably have to find it's basically a long list of tweets. But he was saying there's nothing against the new brewer or anything. He was a great brewer. It's just I think he'd just fallen out of love with the project, and like you said, I think maybe a bit of misguided moving a premises, and they just decided to call it a day. Rather, they're not going to bust or anything. Because I mean, it was only like a month ago when Sean started getting some of the Tzatziki sour and the Toxic IPA in cans, which was a new thing. So it wasn't like it didn't sound like it particularly planned, because they moved to like a new format of small package. So yeah, it's a real shame. It's one of them breweries which when they get it right, they get it very right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just like I said, if you can still one beer, if you've never had a beer from them and you do like a sour, go try find this Tzatziki sour, which is like that's what it is basically. It's just really interesting, and that'll give you a bit of a flavour of what they were all about. So yeah, it's a real shame.
Yeah. It's a shame to see them go, and who knows what the future has in store. One day maybe there'll be kind of a return of Mad Hatter. We'll have to wait and see. Right, that's pretty much us then. So the next time that we're going to be getting together is going to be our Christmas pub crawl. You gave it a name, didn't you, the other night in the Hopcast? And I can't remember what it was. You gave it with a really fancy, clever name for it.
No,
and you can't remember it?
No, I can't remember. Like a pod crawl or it, but no.
Hop crawl, Hopcast.
Are we giving any information about where we're going, or are we going to leave that as a secret?
The situation that we're in is that what we're doing is we're going around 4 venues, and I don't think we're giving away any trade secrets when we say that what we've obviously the Hopcast we try and record it somewhere different each month. There's a number of places in Sheffield where we'd like to record it, but they don't have kind of a dedicated space that we could use for an hour to record it. We once tried to record an episode in the main part of a pub. Anyone that's been listening since right at the start will remember it, because it was shit. So we've never done that again. We now only go to places that have got a separate little room that we can use. There are a few places that don't have that, so we can't do a full episode there, but we still want to do something with these places. So we came up with this idea that we'd go on a pub crawl for Christmas, and we'd go around probably 4 places that, even though they don't have a dedicated room, we'll just use the cellar for 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. We just record a little bit in each one, have a pint, talk about Christmas, talk about beer, and move on. Jump in an Uber, next place. So that's pretty much what we're doing. So the outline plan is that there's 4 places that we're going to. 3 are definitely confirmed. 1 I'm still waiting on a confirmation back, so let's not reveal them just yet. Okay. But yeah, I mean, what happens after the 4th? I mean,
5, 6, 7.
Goodness knows. I don't think I'm giving anything away if I reveal that we will be finishing at a pub in Kelham Island.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're kind of stuck without options as to what happens after that. So it could be it could end up being our first 2-hour plus episode. That if we carry on recording, going around different places, we're not going to do that. Don't worry. So yeah, that's going to be our December Christmas special. We're doing it quite early in December, but we will still have 1 more kind of Christmas half pint to do after that, which we should try and do something clever with that as well. Maybe go out, do something in like the Christmas market or something. It can be far too noisy, isn't it? It's not going to work. But
we'll do something. We'll think about it.
We've still got beer left as well. It's like this is the first time I think we've gone past half an hour and not finished the beer. They've all been like bigger cans and bottles today. My favourite, I'm going Loka Poly, no surprise.
Yeah, same here. But I liked them all, to be honest.
Yeah, no duds.
Yeah, I really like the A Pale as well. And if you like I say, if you're one of these people who's on the edge of trying some sours. That's not a very sour for the quench quake. Quake quench is easy to say than quench quake, isn't it?
Quench quake. Quench quake.
Yeah, good.
Brilliant. Right, okay, we will see you at the start of December for our Christmas pub crawl. See you then.